All right. Today we're talking about surveillance. Not TikTok conspiracy surveillance, not they're using my toaster to spy on me surveillance, real surveillance, but specifically outdated surveillance, old methods, old tech, stuff that actually existed, stuff that worked, stuff that sometimes still shows up in movies even though it's obsolete now. And then we're going to clear up some common misunderstandings because people tend to swing to one extreme or the other. Either surveillance isn't real or they can do literally anything at any time. The truth is somewhere in the middle. So let's get into it. Back in the day, especially mid 1900s through the 80s, most homes used analog copper landlines. If someone wanted to listen to your calls, here's how it worked. They physically tapped the line. That meant accessing the junction box, clipping onto copper wires, running a listening device, or installing a line splitter. It required physical proximity. Someone had to physically touch the infrastructure. This is where the image of a technician climbing on a pole comes from. And yes, that was technically possible. But it wasn't magic. It required access, equipment, authorization if legal, or risk if illegal. Today, most calls are digital, encrypted, cellular packet based. You don't clip onto a pole anymore for modern mobile calls. That's largely obsolete. The Clipper chip. That one actually happened. In the 1990s, the U.S. government proposed something called the Clipper chip. It was meant to encrypt communications, but also allow government access with a key escrow system. The idea was controversial. Privacy advocates fought it. It largely failed. For point, it was debated publicly. It wasn't secretly embedded in drywall. It wasn't installed in every phone without notice. It wasn't some invisible hidden program still floating around. It was a policy battle over encryption. Outdated, interesting, but not some hidden ghost infrastructure. Old school surveillance used actual physical bugs. Tiny microphones hidden in lamps, telephone handsets, wall outlets, furniture, light fixtures. But here's what mattered. They required installation. Someone had to enter the space or access it legally or plant it physically. They also needed power, transmission capability, or a wire running somewhere. Modern technology has miniaturized things, yes, but there is no system where your house wiring itself acts like a natural microphone network. That's not how electricity works. A microphone is a specific device. Wires don't magically become listening tools. Laser microphones. You've probably seen this in movies. A van parked outside, laser pointed at a window, listening to a conversation through glass vibration. This technology does exist. It's called a laser microphone. But here's the reality. It requires line of sight. It requires steady aim. It requires specialized equipment. It works best under controlled conditions. It's extremely rare in everyday investigations. It's not common practice for ordinary surveillance. It's a niche tool. Movies make it seem like every agency uses it constantly. They don't. In the 70s through the 90s, if someone suspected a bug, they used RF detectors. Why? Because most listening devices transmitted over radio frequency. So you could sweep a room and detect abnormal transmission. But here's the part people misunderstand. Not every signal is surveillance. Homes today are full of RF. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, smart TVs, routers, neighbors' routers, wireless printers, cell phones, smartwatches. An RF detector lighting up does not mean there's a spy device. It means there's radio energy, which is everywhere now. The old if it beeps you're being monitored logic doesn't hold up in a modern wireless world. Before full wiretaps, there were pen registers. They didn't record conversations, they recorded numbers dialed. That's it. Metadata. Who called who, when, how long. This was heavily used in the analog era. Today, metadata is collected digitally on a much larger scale, but it's back end server level stuff. It's not someone sitting outside with headphones. It's logs, databases, paperwork, and often voltage manipulation as surveillance. This one floats around a lot, the idea that rising or fluctuating voltage in a home is proof of monitoring. Here's what actually causes voltage changes. Appliances cycling, HVAC systems, refrigerators, grid load balancing, transformer switching, shared circuit demand. There is no documented surveillance method where agencies raise voltage to activate listening systems in walls. Electricity in your wiring does not function as a microphone grid. Voltage fluctuations are normal infrastructure behavior, always have been. They're using the power lines to listen. Let's clear this up. Power lines carry electrical current. They're not audio channels. To transmit audio, you need a microphone, a modulation system, a transmission method, a receiver. Your breaker panel is not an intelligence collection hub. Power companies are not secretly monitoring conversations through your outlets. That's not how the physics work. The van outside, the classic white van parked too long. Historically, surveillance vans did exist. Law enforcement has used parked vehicles, mobile observation posts, stakeout cars, but they are used in targeted investigations with cause, with authorization. They are not randomly floating through neighborhoods, monitoring civilians for no reason. If surveillance is happening, it's purposeful, not theatrical. What people get wrong in both directions. Some people say the government can't do anything. Wrong. They absolutely can. Subpoena data, access metadata, monitor under warrant, track devices. Other people say they can do literally anything at any time without limits. Also wrong. There are legal processes, budget constraints, oversight mechanisms, resource prioritization. Surveillance is expensive, time consuming, paperwork heavy. It's not infinite and random. Modern surveillance is mostly digital. Today's surveillance is boring compared to movies. It looks like server logs, cloud backups, app metadata, ISP records, data brokers, cell tower pings. It does not look like voltage pulses, secret microwave beams, random electrical manipulation, hidden pole line eavesdropping. It's mostly back-end digital tracking. Why outdated methods still live in people's minds? Because movies froze them in time. We still picture wire clips, bugs in lamps, laser vans, headphones, and tape reels. That was real, but it was analog era tech. We live in a data collection era now. Different tools, different systems, less theatrical, more database. Realistic privacy awareness. If you want to think realistically about privacy, ask what apps have my location? What data brokers have my info? What do I post publicly? What permissions have I granted? That's modern exposure. Not voltage spikes, not breaker panels, not mysterious hums. The final grounded perspective. Surveillance exists. Historically, it included copper wiretaps, physical bugs, clipper chip proposals, pin registers, RF transmitters, laser microphones. Many of those are outdated or niche now. Modern systems are quieter and more digital. The mistake is either pretending surveillance is impossible or believing it's omnipotent and theatrical. It's neither. It's bureaucratic, targeted, resource based, and usually legal process driven. Understanding history helps because once you understand how surveillance actually worked, you can stop filling in the gaps with myths. Technology evolves, but physics hasn't changed. Electric wires are still electric wires. Microphones are still microphones, and infrastructure still behaves like infrastructure. Curiosity is good. Critical thinking is better. I'll see you next episode.